Welcome to Street Smart Spirituality with your hosts, Barry and Cole, where each week we will be discussing diverse topics of spirituality, including the right use of will, A Course of Love, A Course in Miracles, The Way of Mastery, and much more. Join us on a global spiritual adventure with Cole in Australia and Barry in the U.S. All right, everybody. Welcome to Street Smart Spirituality. This is episode 11, and we have decided through mutual consultation that this topic would be on manifestation. And we've both got some experience on that end of the spectrum, so this should be an interesting show. And Cole has promised not to swear so much, so we're good to go. So, Cole, down in Byron Bay, Australia, welcome, and why don't you start us out?
Hey, Barry. Good to hear your voice again. As if I didn't have an overdose of your voice. Hearing all your spectacular recordings, I so appreciate your recording the Urantia book. I can't thank you enough for that, and then you always surprise us with some new things that I might have never encountered. I really loved the sutras that you just came up with. It's just absolutely beautiful. And so, yeah, always good to hear you. And I'm always looking forward to Friday because this is when we hook up and have a bit of a catch up. And yeah, it's always nice.
Excellent. So why don't you start out, and then I'm going to throw in some stuff about Neville Goddard. We've got a couple of comments we want to read, and I think this will be interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. Manifestation, there is so much out there about manifestation, and sometimes I look at those YouTubes and people talking about manifestation, and you can see they hardly have a good camera.
Okay, wait. I want to do this first because this has bugged me from the beginning. Just what you said.
Yeah.
9 years ago, I published the Neville Goddard Reader, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant or anything, but I think that I pretty much started the Neville Goddard revolution on the internet because before that there was maybe one book on Amazon. Mm-hmm. Now there's literally hundreds of them, and the people that keep in mind, I know most of these people, and the funniest thing is that 75% of the people that I know that teach Neville Goddard and teach manifestation are broke. And if that isn't funnier than shit, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And they're selling courses. If you've got I don't care if you want to sell it, but you better show me what you got from it first. And I've had people email me all the time, not all the time, but saying, hey, you want to be on our podcast, blah blah blah. I said no thanks. And literally, with the advent of the internet, everybody wants to be a teacher. Nobody wants to be a student.
Yeah.
And that's I just had to throw that in because it's so freaking funny. Like you said, the guys are teaching manifestation, and they're working from a 10-year-old VHS camera that looks like crap. Mm-hmm. So be a little discerning when you start looking for people to try and teach you stuff, because for $100 in a couple of weeks, somebody can set up a pretty slick website that and they know absolutely nothing. So yeah, sorry to interrupt. So go ahead on that.
It's a valid thing, and it's just also like, what is it that you really want to manifest? Because is the actual thing that you materially want to manifest, is it really going to make you truly happy? And you get a new car until someone scratches it, and then stand up that manifestation. But what I want to take it to I find it very, very simple. And talking about street smart, it's about, if you really look at it, no matter what you do, at the end of the day, you do it just to feel good. You know, we go into a lot of elaborate actions just to get something. So what? So we can get it, and then what? Feel good. At the end of a day, you just want to be basically happy. You want to be well enough physically, and you want to be basically feeling good, right? And did anyone actually teach you how to feel good before you go into this long journey to achieve something so you can feel good about yourself or in yourself? Yeah. So I do this very simple practice, because if you're not used to feeling good, no matter what you manifest, you're just not going to feel good. You're going to feel good momentarily. You might feel a bit high, but overall, the feeling good, because the creation is very simple. And creation is not making stuff up, you know. Creation is generating in you the sense of oneness, a sense of wholeness that will ultimately fulfill you, right? So for me, it came down to just basically feeling good. So here, we'll just start with a little exercise. I do this with kids at school, and it's just blows me away because they're not so imprinted and they're not so limited by judgments and emotional trauma that a human being can go through. So they can manifest feeling good really powerfully. So that's all I do, because I'm a music teacher, and music is all about feeling, and I help kids to learn how to feel good. And I think this should be a subject at school. You know, can you imagine? You come to school. Okay, kids, first hour, sit down, close your eyes, feel good. And it's like, you know, Barry, can you find that place in you that you can feel good?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So let's try it, because this is actually phenomenal, right? So can you allow yourself to feel good?
Yes.
Good. Can you feel it? Can you feel it in your chest?
Mm-hmm.
In your legs?
It manifests first on my face into a smile.
Okay, beautiful. So that's great. And then what we want to do, because it's an idea of feeling good, now we want to manifest it into physical reality. Because if you're physically feeling good, you remember those days when you had an amazing sleep, everything is fine, you got nothing to worry about, and you're just happy for no reason at all. You're basically just feeling good. And from that place, you see the whole world is a manifestation of that simple thing. Feeling good. Joy is another one. It's just an inherent quality in us that's based on just the fact of who we are. You know, feeling joy. So you feel good. Can you feel it in your little toe?
It's getting there.
Yeah, because the lower extremities are always hardest to kind of bring this in, because, you know, we keep an idea in the mind, and then we visualize it, and then we want to see it out there. What we got to first see, the manifestation goes first down. You're going to go and put it into the womb. You have to put it into the mother, and then she will birth it for you. And so if you keep looking out and you're not seeing it being birthed, then you might have placed in with your feeling good some other things, right? And so you got to watch what you're doing, and is your idea of feeling good or purity really, really pure? And is it of God? Is it of your origin? Or is it of your ego mind that will tell you it feels good, but it's not really feeling that good. There's a Course in Miracles lesson, so like, I rule my mind, which I alone must rule. It says, I have a kingdom I must rule. And at time, it doesn't seem I am its king at all, or a queen, right? And so you got to keep looking at these reflections you get. But ultimately, whatever you put into the mother, into the feeling, mother is represented as a feeling entity, right? And this, if you, for example, hate negative feelings in yourself, this mother is feeling hated to some extent. And no matter how much coating you put on her and how much positive thinking you put in your mind, if you hate your negative feelings, you're shutting down a part of yourself that can actually truly manifest, right? Because just to visualize things might just actually show you that you rarely get that. And even if you do get it, you will either lose it real quick or it will not actually make you happy at the end of a day, where you can just sit there and feeling good all day consistently. And even feeling bad can feel quite good. So you come into this place of, you're like simply not opposing anything. You're no longer living in something like a dual world within yourself. So how is the feeling good going, Barry?
Feeling good.
Can you allow that feeling good more than that?
I certainly can.
Good. Let's continue. And if anyone who wants to join us, let's see what we can manifest together as a group dynamic, just joining us in feeling good. Because you see, when you begin to, in a way, sense everyone else in you joining you in your own endeavor, it magnifies. Because you coming with an intent to manifest a greater good. Why are you doing anything? Just to serve yourself, or serve your closest, or greater good? Happy people on the planet. And I think with that inner thought of wanting to serve greater good, which you might not even know how to, but you have that intent to do so, it will begin to change your own reality, and it will actually begin to manifest outwards. Because you can't find the golden age outside first and then experience it within. It's the other way around. You begin to manifest it in yourself. Like Neville said, had this golden pond below him. And I reckon until this golden pond shows up, the manifestation is limited to just the mind. Because when you begin to feel those feelings, there's a whole different level of vibration. And it's not high vibration, it's actually really, really low vibration that feels really good. That feels really full and fulfilling. And that's what we're looking at. And that, maybe there's another way, but I feel like that was one thing that made all the difference. Because I used to learn and train myself to be able to express negative feelings without hurting anyone, of course. And that was good. I got quite good at it. But then I decided, well, how about the positive feelings? How much joy can I feel, and how long can I retain that genuine feeling of joy that just oozes out and reverberates my whole being? And that took a little practice. Same with feeling good. Like, next meditation, how about you try for 15 minutes to just feel good? And see that maybe after a few minutes, there is all sorts of different thoughts coming in that are manifesting different quality, different texture in your own body. Yeah? Because every thought made flesh means every thought immediately manifests in your body. So if you see sick people out there, you have a very great chance to manifest sickness in yourself. Now, if you observe health and longevity and goodness in people, that will affect your own, because ideas do not leave their source, basically. What you think of others will affect you. So everything comes back to this feeling good thing. So no matter what it is, like even if you want a new car, it's like, how's it gonna make you feel when you get it? What's the feeling that it's gonna bring up? See, that feeling is already in you because you already want that feeling by wanting that car. Right? So everything is with you. And if you say, I want something, you're implying you don't have it. But you actually do. So whatever you want to experience, whatever you think you don't have with you, you actually do have it with you. You're just not giving it manifestation right now. And here is the basis to real manifestation, is not necessarily making up physical stuff. Because, everything that's outside us is perishable. Everything outside will not last. But your feeling and your energy body is forever. It's just how you're using it. And if you're manifesting death for yourself, then that's what's going to happen to you. So it's that radical. If you have an idea of death, then you're going that way. So you got to really watch what you're thinking and what your thought patterns and constructs are. So how is the feeling good going, Barry?
Still rocking and rolling.
How about more than that?
Mom won't let me get any more excited. I make a mess.
Good.
I'm working on it, Chief.
Yes. And so what's going to happen, if you keep practicing this, it will begin to come out of your body. You will just have this feeling as if you're opening the space for feeling to actually begin to manifest itself. And because we are living in this kind of like a space, time, and size, it seems like it comes out of your body. And because you think you are your body, you think it's coming out of your body, but you are more than just your body. You have spirit, you have your will, you have your heart, and you have the body. Body is just this tiny part of ourselves. So you imagine that you are as big as the place you are in right now, and you're manifesting that feeling good outside yourself. And then you allow it a bit more and a bit more until you begin to feel like as if the room is getting thicker with that quality. And then you open the windows and you let it flow out. And then you will be surprised how much you can expand. So now you're oozing the quality that you want to manifest. For who? For yourself. Just by simple act of giving it away. So that's the whole basis of manifesting, And if you have limiting ideas, so one of the important steps in this is to release release judgments and structures of what you can manifest, what you can't manifest. Because if you have an idea that you can't actually manifest, well, guess what? No matter how much you're going to manifest, you're not going to manifest. So you got to like release ideas and release structures that are holding you bound to the physical reality. And I'm not saying get away from physical reality, just to have that freedom to shift away from physical or more into physical. So I remember at some point, I had so many ideas what God is, for example, hey? So if you want to manifest the reality of pure light in yourself, you first have to release what you're full of, right? Like if you're full of ideas of what God is, like if I ask you, Barry, it's like, hey, Barry, what's God? What do you say?
I'm not falling for it.
You have to. You're my example life here. So, but I want to show you this because this is actually something that made a huge difference. It was actually my first awakening came from this kind of a dyad is how you pronounce it? An exchange. A person asked me over and over, hey Cole, what's God? And I said, ooh, God is energy. And she goes, thank you. What else is God? I go, ooh, God is light. Like, thank you. What else is God? And in a half an hour later, I was still talking. I was still coming up with all these ideas of what God is. Well, guess what kind of God I manifested in my reality? The one I believed I know. Yeah? And then she guided me into a place where she goes, what about the God of your childhood? And man, the amount of images I had stored in my psyche from my childhood, from the church, from my father who was a Catholic, from my own imaginings. I heard the word God, I began to imagine it, and I formed, like tombstones, like the big cemetery of rigid ideas as a child of what God is. Guess what? They're still there, making up a God of my own making. So this is actually a very, very powerful practice. You can pair up with somebody and say, hey, let's do this for an hour. Hey, what's God? And you go, and then you swap over, or you do 5 minutes each, and then 5 minutes the other, 5 minutes the other, until you come to an end, until you go like, I think I'm done. I don't know. At the end, I say, I don't know. And that very night, I had the most profound first kind of revelation, because what happened, my cup was empty. And that's the whole idea of emptying the cup, emptying the limited beliefs and thought structures and patterns that create our reality. So releasing that was one, then releasing the ideas who Jesus is. Because Jesus, so many people have this idea of a savior, but we also have so many pictures, so many ideas what this is. And that manifests a Jesus of our own making rather than the Christ consciousness, which cannot be defined in any way. It's a pure experience of unspeakable love or unspeakable joy without opposite. So until these things are cleared up in our minds, we are not manifesting and not creating, we're making stuff up. And whatever we make up will hurt us. Eventually, it will be a burden. It's on top of who we are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. And then I came up with this other one. I was doing it in my men's group. So, hey, what's God? And And the boys are saying, God, this is so powerful. But then I came up with this like a triple diet. You ask, hey, what's God? And then people say so and so. And then you say, what isn't God? It's a good question, isn't it? What isn't God? And then you come up with an answer. And then you say the third question, which is like, how do you know? Like, how do you know anything? Right? And that also takes you way deeper into your own psyche of your own observation, your own projection on your own mind construct, which Course in Miracles is so brilliant at dislodging. Dislodging this construct of reality that we think we're living in. Hence that helps you to destructure the structure, and then also freeing your feelings to flow again. Because it's one thing to have a feeling that's just, let's say I'm feeling sad. So let's say feeling sad is a feeling, but if this feeling hasn't got any movement, it's just like a tombstone. It's just locked up thing. And until it begins movement, it's not going to dissipate. And you do want to dissipate your sadness, otherwise you're just going to keep manifesting it in some way or form of another. And this movement cannot happen unless there is a full acceptance of what you made up. Right? When you see that you have non-acceptance, particularly of your negative feelings, you begin to realize that you're against yourself. Like loving yourself? No, you're not loving yourself because you're going against yourself there. Can you see my point?
Yeah.
So, one of the steps is to free up the feeling body by fully accepting it. Now, I was listening to your Kriya that you just put out today. It was something about Kriya Yoga. And it really struck me strongly too, because he mentions feeling there many times, but that often gets overlooked. I used to do like a Mantak Chia breathing techniques, and I tried, and I could never get this energy really flowing until I begin to feel it. And I go like, oh, the missing ingredient. There it is. So, like you say, Neville's work that started this whole thing. The feeling is the secret. So the feeling is the secret to manifestation. But the feeling has to be free to manifest. The free will, to me, has a very different meaning than the idea of free will, that we actually free to do anything. But really, it's more like, can you free the feeling body to a point where it can freely manifest any idea straight away? It begins to generate the quality of feeling. And let me tell you, there's no limit to this. Like how much we are capable of feeling, it puts thinking to shame. It's incredible. Once that feeling body begins to really be free to do its thing, it's incomparable. So, how's that so far?
Good. You're doing good. You'll have an extra cookie after this.
Yes.
Let's take the aspect, something that you're really excited about, and about the feeling element, or the feeling aspect, being the female element.
Yes.
What can you share on that?
I can't stress this enough, particularly for us men, to get the feminine reflection. I mean, I talked about it in the last podcast. It's interesting when I go into this polarity. It's like it loses the audience a bit, but it's the key to it all. The feminine, and we live in a masculine world. Even women are basically, feminine. It's like everything's living in a head. There's so much head. We over amped by information. Like at the moment, we are living in a over-informed universe, and we are searching for more information, saying, "Now, empty it all out." It's all limited thinking, and it's just basically clogging our mind to truth. And feminine is that which reflects that, But pure feeling is so denied in men and in women big time. Because if I ask you, well, how are you really feeling right now? Anything that comes within a minute or two is just the mind's description of feelings. But the pure feeling itself didn't even have a chance to rear its head out, So it's also this idea of going into our feelings. No. You got to step back and give the feeling space to reach you, to touch you. So if I'm trying to find out how am I feeling, I close my eyes, I relax for a moment, I step back and I say, how am I really feeling? And I virtually go a few meters back and open up this space for the feeling to manifest to me, demonstrate to me what it really feels like. Because mind is an entity on its own, and it's just actually, according to Write You So Well and my experience, that mind is actually so distorted that it's functioning on misread imprinting. So not only that, we have our thoughts are not real, like the Course in Miracles says, when you're thinking the thoughts you think, your mind is actually blank, rather than filled with the real ideas. And when the inspired thinking kicks in, becomes really obvious. Because when an inspiring thought comes in, it has a very, very different quality to it. So, yeah, I am like...
Yeah, I mean, when that happens to me, it's almost... it almost gives you goosebumps.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You're kicked up. Let me share something that you sent me earlier today about this fits in so perfectly with women and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Really?
This is a quote from somebody. I think women are foolish to pretend that they are equal to men. Pregnant pause.
Yeah, important.
This is when all the women are getting pissed. Okay, now listen. They are far superior and always have been.
Yeah.
Whatever you give a woman, she will make it greater.
Mm-hmm.
If you give her sperm, she will give you a baby. If you give her a house, she'll give you a home.
Yeah.
If you give her groceries, she'll give you a meal.
Mm.
If you give her your smile, she will give you her heart.
Yeah.
She multiplies and enlarges what is given to her. So if you give her any crap, be ready to receive a ton of shit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree with that more than I know you agree too. It's
absolutely
that's a beautiful sentiment.
Yes, and so I pay attention. With my girlfriend. Like if she's not reflecting my joy, I made up that joy. If I say I love you, she gives me this blank look. I go, I better pay attention. And you know what? She's always right. And if I trust those feelings that she reflects to me, it always turns up really good. It turns up really beautiful. Because you can't fool this will. The will is almost like a foolproof thing. If it's free and flowing and you begin to see the value of it. And unless you begin to see the value of feelings, because that mind thinks like, oh, feeling is just that there's like a burdensome thing in us. No. That's the gold. if I have any message, and if this was the last podcast, and you say, "Hey, Cole, what's the thing?" I said, feeling. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret to everything. Unless you feel it, you're not really manifesting it. You're manifesting it with all sorts of imprints, all sorts of stuff, and it's not gonna be pure. And so, hence, the Right Usable books were like what they introduce on a level of feeling. I have never met anything even vastly remote. I think this was one of the most superior, spiritual practices, where lead you to look at within yourself, what is your relationship to feelings, how you're relating to them, and what are they manifesting for you. That right use of will. It's like the amount of manifestation that comes from there, and the quality, and I'm really just talking total rubbish in here, because when the will really shows up, I've got nothing to say. I just go quiet. I get extremely grateful, and my reverence is high, and my mind goes blank, but in a good way. So, yeah. And it's beautiful. See, if you read that again, when it comes into saying those things like, whether you give a woman, she will make it greater. If you give her sperm, she'll make you a baby. And it really shows like that. You give an idea, which is like the sperm, and then the baby is the manifestation that actually comes out in a physical reality, right? She gets that, right. She begins to birth it, right? Feeling is that which births the experience. Yeah. If you have many ideas of God, then you are birthing yourself a God of your own making. Yeah. When you come with a pure mind, virgin thought. Yeah. And the whole idea of virgin birth is nothing but that. There was the idea of pure being. The mother birthed it from a virgin feeling that wasn't obstructed by old locked up feelings, just pure feeling, virgin feeling. And what does she create? She manifests the Christ within. And this is what's happening within ourselves. You have this pure thought. The pure thought begins to manifest in your feelings. Yeah. And then you birth the Christ in your heart, which is always brand new. It's a brand new a manifestation of God within, right? And then you begin to experience it physically. You get this extremely exquisite chemistry in your body that's beyond description. Then you go like, give her a house, she will give you a home. I mean, how beautiful it is. When I was single, I always feel like my house always looks like it's like empty, just missing something. Every time, when a woman is in my house, when I'm with somebody, they just make it, I come home and it's just like, oh, it's got that homey feeling, it's so beautiful, Give her grocery, she makes you a meal. I can cook, but my God, it's just different. I clean my kitchen, it never looks good. My woman comes in 10 minutes, I'm going like, oh, wow, is this my kitchen? It's just a different quality. It just births something that I always bow down to it, Give her grocery, she'll give you a meal. Give her a smile and she'll give you her heart. Give her presents and she will manifest it for you. And of course, give her a denial and you have a fire in the house. You go without a meal and the kitchen's gonna look like shit.
And you're gonna be sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's always good to go into and find out, hey, what's really going on? What's really happening? You know, and that what's really happening, it's always locked up in a feeling. Some kind of judgment that felt too much to say. The feeling got denied. It got hidden. And now we're manifesting conflict. You know, like the Course in Miracles says, you know, you're never upset for the reason you think. But you actually find why you're really upset, which again has to be, you know, stepping back and let the feeling inform you, you know. The feeling is the ultimate informer of what the mind is doing. It's giving its reflection. Yeah. Once you find the cause, the effects merely vanish. So if you're upset about something, it's not it. If you keep getting upset about something, it's not it. So you ask yourself that. Why am I really upset? And then don't let the ego rush in and establish its impotence there. Step back, pause, don't try, just step back and allow yourself to be informed. Eventually, if you do this, you will see wherever you look, everything's informing you. And you're manifesting completely different reality. I mean, try this for fun. You know, next time you go out to town, just see everyone as the graduate of the very thing that you do. So if you're into some kind of meditation practice, imagine the whole town, everyone you're looking at, you see them as graduates of the very thing that you're into. And then watch the whole town transform. And that's the real practice of manifestation and observance. You know, really seeing things with the vision rather than with the, you know, with the judgment in mind, you know. There was a beautiful, in one of those sutras, it says, unless you acquire your spirit vision, you're not going to be able to truly see. And vision's got nothing to do with visualization. It's like a part of our self, like our chakras become, they turn on their receptivity and they begin to see with the truth, you know, with the mind of God rather than with a mind that's separate from wholeness. So Sam is saying, you know, leave behind anything you know, because whatever is the unknown that's available to be seen can't be seen unless you empty your mind of everything you think you know and of everything that you think it's good or bad. It's all about the act of giving it away. And then pure can birth the pure. So there. Is there anything you wanted to read out there? I think you had something that you wanted to bring in.
No. I'm just giving you shit. Yeah, there's you're about the female element. This is from William Walters. He was around 1912, Christian Science movement. He broke away from the Christian Science movement and started a movement of his own. And of course, a bunch of idiots took it and tried to turn it into a religion in South America. And anyway, so yeah, he talks about the feeling element is the female element. Keep in mind, this is from 1912, so this is pretty amazing. Forward stuff. The mental action alone is really knowing or consciousness, and may be said to be the first step the mentality takes to experience anything. This knowing, unaccompanied by feeling, does not produce a visible effect. This knowing is the male element of mind, the perceptive element. When this perceptive element is used alone, it produces no visible effect or experience. It is on a par with the mentality that mentally draws plans of a house or invention, but never gets beyond the plan drawing stage. Something more than a mere plan drawing is needed, before an individual mentality will actually set to work to externalize the house or invention. This something more is feeling. If there is no feeling accompanying the house planning, the mentality will not exert itself actually to produce the house or invention. It is no different in cases of success or failure, health or sickness, happiness or sorrow. It goes on for another 4 or 5 paragraphs. I'm not going to read it now, but this is, there's a lot of beautiful wisdom from, that part of time, 1912, 1920, the early modern thought writers. So,
Banner.
That was a good share.
Yeah, beautiful. That's it. It's like it's right on the money right there. But to actually get that into a manifestation where it actually begins to happen, it's really, the mind has to realize the value of feeling. Till we realize that is the most valuable thing, I think, in life. Is just this being able to truly, genuinely feel, with feelings being backed up with unexpressed emotions and unexpressed feelings locked up, judged, and imprisoned. The mind is so defensive towards this feeling. It's like it's got this artillery. It's like, don't you move down there. Like it just wants to control it. And that really shows up as men overpowering women, thinking they're actually getting somewhere, but they're actually depriving themselves of this exquisite reflection that, to me, is the awakener. Because like I say, show me a happy woman and I'll show you really awake man. And I think that goes a long way. And so feeling is this feminine aspect that, I think in men and in women it needs a lot of acceptance, and actually just to even realize that it's the number one value in our psyche is the aspect of feeling. The mind versus intuition, It's like,
and I think it's 10 times harder for individuals like you and me from a different generation, where growing up, most of our feelings were beaten down by schoolmates, parents, teachers. Boys aren't supposed to cry. What are you feeling sad for? But now there's such a massive energy change, and the new kids coming in, the indigo children, the crystalline children, or whatever you want to call them. They're totally open to this stuff.
I know.
And it's an incredible time to be alive, and it's
yes. This is why I love. That's why I love teaching at the Steiner School. Like, I've got these kids, they're walking in there, right? It's just beautiful to see this, young man just dropping into this profound presence. They give you this look. It's like, you can't fool around with that. It's like, oh, hello. Like, you seriously, I've got this friend of mine. He's like 23 or something. I met him when he was a baby, And when I sit with him as a two men, he's a young man. But when we sit together, when we sit in deep presence, I am so profoundly touched by that kind of reflection. This new generation has got a completely different mindset. That his presence is just to die for. It's just exquisite. We both have tears in our eyes, just sitting, facing each other, because that's what I do in my men's groups. Training men how to be truly present, not only for themselves, because you know what it is to be truly present. Truly present man is a man who is present for his feelings. Period. That's what presence is. That emotionally intelligent in man, it shows the way how present can a man be with feelings and not get swayed by the emotionality. He is just firmly holding the presence for the feeling. So no matter what is arising, he is with it. Right? If a man looks all over the place, he's not with himself. So that's what really means. Like, what does it really mean for a man to be present? So, and this is what I also see in these young men, that they know their feelings. They're good with their feelings. So like, yeah, I'm good with that feeling. And all they really need is a tiny little bit of just adjustment of their physicality. Sometimes I go, put your chin in a little bit. And you go, like this. And he goes, yep. And then suddenly we have this holy instant. He goes like, oh my God, this is good. And, you
Quit
know,
slouching.
Huh?
Quit slouching.
Yeah, keeps, you know, that from the games and from the computers, you know, where like our bodies got distorted. So it's really important to readjust the body to the tree of life, you know, to this life erect. You know, true erection is actually the body when it's open, present, soft in the front. It's not tense. And it's got that feeling of expansion upwards. That usually comes from knowing where you're going. That's why also very important to be really clear what's your inner calling and what's your inner, you know, what's your purpose in life, particularly as a man. And that, once you get in touch with that, the feminine will reflect it. You know, when I was in days when I wasn't sure where I was going, I had so many reflections showing me that. But the minute I got really clear, it's like, oh, I know my mission. It's like, it was a different hello. You know, it's like, oh, hello. There's this awakeness that the feminine feels, and it gets actually, you know, it also ignited by that, where it's like, you know, present men and open women. And that's the thing. Not so many men are present, so women not really have anything to open up to. Once there's a real presence, the feminine begins to dance, begins to open up like the lotus flowers. They begin to open up to the light and reflect it. So, yeah, I'm so touched by this young generation of men that I'm working with. And also, you know, really working on opening up all these feeling realms for women, because I think that's is really important for a woman to be able to feel safe enough, you know, to be able to show what actually everything feels like. And again, we're back into that feeling world again. And that is my mission in my life, is to not only evolve this feeling part of myself to the greater heights, but to also, you know, help my fellow travelers, saying, hey, you know, no matter what's going on, how does it make you feel? And then notice your relationship to those feelings. And then you will see that your relationship to those feelings is not good. And therefore, you manifesting the reality which magnetizes to you stuff that is held back in your feelings. So I guess that's the message for the day.
Yeah, and it's not only the men, you know, the new indigo children, the men, but the women are also blossoming. I mean, I've noticed that. I get a lot of emails and questions and stuff, and you know, I can just feel that the vibration of the women, you know, from the last this generation is blossoming also. Whether they got to balance their masculine with the feminine or whatever, but
definitely,
yeah, this new generation is beautiful.
Yes, and we know we're not saying the old generation is bad. I think for us, you know, like I'm 63 now, nearly, and you know, I've gone through life. I've gone through some tough times in my life, and you know, some amazing times, but also some tough time. And some of those tough times definitely locked up my feeling body, and I've been now working for years and years and years on this feeling realm, and I feel like I'm just seeing the the top of the iceberg of what is available in this, what we call the will. And, even the divine will is just like upper layer. And then you go below that, and the ultimate potential of that in there is infinite. So,
but I mean, that's just it. I mean, you have found, after your journey, you have found your iceberg. I mean, even if you're at the tip of it, you've found your iceberg. People are wandering around, aimless. They don't know shit. They don't know where they're going. I mean, there's nothing so sad in life as if you had a friend that you haven't seen for 15 years and you meet them again for the first time 15 years, and that person is exactly the same as they were 15 years ago. I mean, that is so incredibly sad.
Yes.
Because, I mean, life is an evolution, and so many people have been beaten down so hard, so long, they don't even give a shit. They're just waiting to move on. But, there's people that go, well, screw it, I'm just going to end it, and I want out of here. But, what they don't realize is, if you leave problems behind and you decide to, prematurely ascend, you're coming back to take care of those problems that you left behind. You're not getting away from anything.
Yeah, it's true.
And
but this is where
it's all part of it.
This is where it's so important for a man in particular to check on their purpose in life, because we have this like a major purpose in life, like and then we have like a small little purposes that we need to. And sometimes what happens for men, they at this particular when you run into people who are having depression or get suicidal or so, it's actually what happens. They achieve certain goals. They actually knew what their passion was, and they followed it. But fortunately and unfortunately, it always comes to an end, and you need to then go into silence and look, what's my next vision? What's my next purpose? And if you don't catch this, you'll succumb. You'll go down. And you think, oh, I've done it all, and da-da-da. And you go like, nah, there is the next purpose coming. What is it? And the minute you find it, you'll wake up and go like, I know where I'm going. And, to find out. So for if anyone feels down or closed down or is not sure what's going on, close off, turn off all your devices, turn off any distractions, and says, I'm not moving from here until I see my next vision, until you manifest your new purpose, because it's also a manifestation in a way. And that has to be a revelation, because you don't know what that is. Well, you think you know, and also, according to some teachers, they say, you will also probably resist it. That's why it's such a good value to have a good men's group, because you might even find your purpose, but you don't have enough energy to manifest it, to go with it, being pushed a little bit. This is what we do in my men's group, and this is no way I'm advertising myself here at all. I'm just saying this more like as that this is where the masculine needs to really be able to feel again, because it's from the feeling that his new purpose will be born in a way.
I want to interject something too. First of all, if you want to participate in Cole's group, call 1-800-COLE-ROCKS. Anyway, as far as purpose goes, and I've been intending to write something on this for a long time. There is worth and there is value.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the problem is, we are so indoctrinated into, in school and college and doctorate programs to live a life of worth. Now, a worth to me, how I define it is, worth is the world of Caesar, mm-hmm. which is the world of five senses. That is like all these guys, you read these stories that, they're Hollywood producers and, they're making $20 million a year one day they're driving down the LA freeway in their Mercedes and they say, screw this. I mean, I'm totally empty inside because they have been living a life of worth, and they're, these are the kind of guys, I don't mean this in a bad way, but these are the kind of guys that will be forgotten 5 minutes after they're buried. They leave no legacy behind.
Right.
Because the world of worth is just totally superficial.
Right.
You want to have purpose in life. You want to seek a life of value. And value doesn't necessarily mean you're making $100,000 a month. It just means that you are serving the highest purpose, not only for yourself, but for mankind. And this kind of overlays too into, we were talking about manifestation, and you went all artsy-fartsy on me and stuff. And people, they want things, and then they don't get things, and they go, "What the hell did I do wrong?" And you gotta keep in mind that you've got another layer above your desires that is kind of a silent voice that says, that's not the best for you right now at this time in your life and your journey. So you're not going to get that. And so if you don't get it, it's just because it was not for your higher and best purpose.
Yeah.
And also, this happened with Neville Goddard a lot. A lot of people would write him and say, I'm trying to manifest a specific individual in my life. The girl down the street at 123 Main Street, the cherry blonde, I want her in my life. And he goes, no, you don't.
Right.
And, I mean, he had a couple of really cool stories where, she turned out to be a hoe and all this stuff. But you don't want a specific person because you don't know, your higher self knows. What you want to do is you want to live your perfect life. You want to refine your life to the point where joy, happiness, success for yourself.
Right.
And in that process, you are generating a vibration. It's kind of like a light bulb in the summertime that's going to attract those of the same vibration. And this has been brought forth to me so much in the last 5 years.
Right.
When the YouTube channel has started to get more and more and more and more traction, it's amazing all the people that I've met, and I call them my soul family, and they call them soul family too. And sometimes I'll meet somebody or email, and we'll talk for 5 minutes, and the next time we talk, it's like I've known them for 30 years.
Right.
So I mean, you don't want to attract a specific person. You can't give love if you don't have love for yourself.
Right.
So create your perfect life. Screw what everybody else thinks. You've got your own burdens from family constructs and going back generation to generation. So make yourself happy first. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's God wants you to be a perfect expression of himself. So do that first. Take care of yourself first, and you'll be inundated with people that you can spend the rest of your life with. And that's my rant.
That's a good one.
That's
true.
One other thing I wanted to mention too, in regard to Neville Goddard, I've got all his 10 books on the channel. There is another gentleman called Brown Landon.
Oh, yeah.
He was from 1850, I think, to 1912. This guy was incredibly, ahead of his time.
Wow.
He one of his books on there is called "Turn Your Desires and Ideals into Reality." It's an excellent book on manifestation. Plus, he's got about a half dozen other books. But it just a lot of when The Secret came out, everybody was going, "Oh man, you got to watch that. You got to watch that." And but after the fact, the majority of people that try that fail at it because they are missing so many of the concepts that you talked about tonight and we talked about, and there's not the feeling there. And so many people think that I want a new car, I want this, and because I see the guy down the street's got a new car. You're not taking a car from somebody else that they're supposed to have. Creation creation is finished. Creation is complete. God is done with creation, and all the material aspects is out there, and there's more than enough for everybody to live a life of wealth and comfort and ease. So you're manifesting, from creation. You're not manifesting from somebody else. And there's just so many mistakes that people make, and so many wrong ideas and bad energy going out there. So that's it. You have any closing thoughts? Because I didn't think we were going to do that good this time, but we're over an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay.
Well, want to wrap things up, or do you still got more to go?
We can bring it down, and we can bring it to close, and basically just that saying, that the feeling is the secret, and to actually come to a place where we're in a very, very good relationship with all of our feelings, positive, what we call positive or negative, because when those are released and freed up, accepted and evolved, a new level of feeling will begin to be born. Feelings that we didn't even know exist. The feelings that fulfill, that are true fulfillment, where you don't have to manifest anything outside yourself because you are so complete within yourself that you're lacking absolutely nothing. It's like the need aspect of your life becomes fulfilled because I don't need anything, and then things come to you that you might need because you still sort of like need to eat and whatever, pay a few bills and stuff, but they just come as a byproduct with effortlessly. You will magnetize to yourself shelter, you will magnetize yourself food, your basics will be covered, and you will not need more than that. I mean, we have now people who basically stopped eating and, released all the ideas and judgments about, what kind of stuff they have to put into their body to survive. And they at the point where just few guys I know personally, that don't eat. It's like, I don't need it. It's like, cool. I get energies from different sources, and their mind is so lucid because they're not burdened by digestions and eliminations and cleansing and all this kind of stuff. They simply function, and it's thousands of them now that are very much trained. They system to function, like Course in Miracles says, you're sustained by the love of God. You're sustained by it, and then you need nothing else. And so,
Jesus also said it is not so important what goes into your mouth as it is what comes out of your mouth. So, this has got nothing to do with Christianity. I mean, that's fine. I mean, if that whatever trips their trigger, but there's no reason to do that.
Yes.
But one other thing I wanted to say too, as far as there's two paths for manifestation. I mean, there's people that go around piecemeal. Right. I want to manifest. I want to manifest a car. I want to manifest a girlfriend. I want to manifest a house, and that's piecemeal, and that'll never end. My way, or not my way, but the way that I chose is, the way that Christ chose. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all else will be given unto you. So that's an overall kind of an umbrella strategy. Yeah. If you seek the kingdom first, and here's the catch-22. You seek the kingdom first, when you find the kingdom, you don't give a shit about the car, the house, the girlfriend, the motorcycle. I mean, it's nice to have, but you don't give a shit about it. Whereas in the piecemeal aspect, you're chasing these things and you're never happy, because we're in a disposable economy, and you're thinking about the next iPhone 37 because you've got the iPhone 34, and it's never mind. But you know what I mean. So yes. There's two ways. You want to do it piecemeal, or you want to find the kingdom first, And if you find the kingdom first, obviously you're covering more than just all else will be added unto you.
Yes, that's so true.
You're good. You're good to go. So that's the end of my rant. So you got anything else you want to wrap it up?
Well, as you're speaking about it, I remember I was shown the kingdom already when I was a little kid. I just didn't know what it was. I remember I was actually in bed sick, and I just closed my eyes, and suddenly this exquisiteness just showed up, and I said, "Oh my God, I want this forever." It took me about 20 years until it actually manifested, like, seeking first the kingdom of heaven, like, it's just an idea first, but when it actually explodes in you, and you drop your jaw and go, "Oh my God." And yeah, just remembering it already as a child, and then that's all I ever wanted again. I just want this again. And it took a while until I undid the false structures of my mind. And there's a little bit of undoing that is necessary. I think A Course in Miracles, Course of Love, Righteous Will are all the best mechanism that I found for myself that helped me to undo these structures. So I wasn't, manifesting tombstones. I was beginning to manifest the newness, the freshness, the creation. It's always brand new, and it's not based on any past associations. So let's leave it at that.
I mean, people, we both agree on these texts and these treaties, and Course in Miracle, A Course of Love, Way of Mastery, Urantia book. You need stuff like that to break open the conditioning, depending upon how long you've been around, from the past 20, 30, 40 years. I don't care if you believe them, but these will kick your doors open, and it'll enlarge your perspective beyond infinity, and it'll start, you're not learning anything, you're starting to remember what you already know.
Yeah.
Cole's no smarter than anybody else. I'm no smarter than anybody else. What he did and what we did is we started remembering where we came from.
That's it.
And we started remembering who we were and
first,
our divinity. And so, find a book like that, or find a series like that resonates strongly, and then engulf the son of a bitch. Not like a novel, not like a Netflix binge. Wear that like a skin until you are a totally new person, and you've cleared out all the distortions from the past. I'm starting to sound like a Baptist preacher.
Well, we're trying to express something that's just so far beyond expression. At the end of the day, when I listen to myself, I go like, God, did I have to say all that? But hey, we're just hanging out, talking, and if it resonates for somebody, good, and if it doesn't, it's good too.
But that's the cool thing. I mean, it's the funniest thing. I keep getting a comment from somebody on YouTube. This was like a couple of months ago. It says, I just came back to see if you were still spouting the same crap, because I unsubscribed like 6 months ago, and I just laughed because he unsubscribed, but he came back, didn't he?
Yeah, right.
And that's just it. The stuff like Course in Miracles, A Course of Love, Way of Mastery, it may not resonate with you, but it planted a seed in you.
Yeah.
And you're never going to know. You may be in a bookstore, you may be at a dinner party, you may be with your girlfriend up at Makeout Point, and, bam, something's going to trigger, and you're going to go, geez, what did that guy say about, Course of Love? And then you're going to go back home and you're going to check, and that seed has been planted, and it's a beautiful thing. So,
wow, yeah.
For as many people as we talk to, and if we plant seeds, and that's all we got to do. I can't live your life for you. I can't develop your spiritual evolution, but I can plant a seed.
Yes.
And then I can move on, and Cole can move on to somebody else, and like I said, if you want to reach Cole, 1-800-COLE-ROCKS.
No, you don't.
And yeah, we're joking. We like having fun. Let me share this last thing.
All right, let's do it.
About people coming into our lives. You came into my life, what? I don't know, 40 years ago?
Yeah. When?
3 years ago?
Yeah. 4, I think 4.
Yeah. Anyway, so one of my new friends, she's a little spiritual whippersnapper. I'm not going to use her name, but she's going to know who she is. But we were bouncing email back the other day, and you know how we always call each other names and stuff, kind of guy talk, and sometimes I call you my bitch and stuff like that, but lovingly. So I wrote her maybe 2 paragraphs. I don't like writing email. I'll just generally do a voice message. But she wrote me back. I swear to God, it was 6 pages long. It must have took her 3 hours. But that email literally lit me up for a half an hour. She went into different aspects of what I said. She brought you up about our relationship, and part of your reason that you're in my life now is to maybe balance my feminine or bring my feminine out more. But I mean, she did paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. I mean, she just freaking nailed it.
Really? Oh, that's so good.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't analysis. It was feminine intuition.
Right.
I mean, she saw what I did not see. I mean, I knew, we were, knew each other for a reason and stuff. And, but I mean, it was incredible because, like I said, because of what I do and because she is doing the same thing, and it is her purpose to, bring light to the world, she got drawn to me.
Right.
And like I said, that 6 pages literally, like I said, lit me up for half an hour, and I was laughing like a son of a bitch, and it was, it was truly a beautiful thing.
Wow.
Same thing that happens with you and me, but you find people like that, I mean, they're worth more than gold and diamonds. And
I know. And that's beautiful messages
incredible.
people leave sometimes. Sometimes I read it, I go like, oh, that really went deep. When some comments, I read them, and yeah, it's just been a really nice journey, and I'm really grateful you invited me to this. I would never do podcasts, it's, I would never start one just like, I've got a message. Unless someone asks me, it's just, same with my men's group. I actually don't advertise. Actually, same with my students. I don't have a page. I don't have a website. I don't have anything. It's just things just rocking up. Even Siri's talking to me right now already.
One more moment.
Yes. Okay, Siri. I don't need you right now. Thank you.
Sorry.
all right, yeah, let's.
I'm having trouble with the connection. Let's try again in a moment.
Okay. Jesus. I don't know. I
Yeah,
turned this thing off and it's still talking to me anyway. Bless it.
Yeah, we're running on like 1 hour and 20. I'm really surprised. I actually didn't think that we were gonna. I mean, there was just so many different ways we could go with this, but I think we always surprise each other when we pick topics that are.
Yes, but I would like to say,
like-
it's really, we just put it out and it just comes back, and it's been nothing, just beautiful comments, and I feel touched. We've done this, and the other day you said, yeah, it's gonna be on a YouTube for the next 20 years. I'm going like, wow. One day I'm gonna listen to it and I'll go like, oh my God, I can't believe what I said.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, we look at numbers and 500, 600, 1,000. We go, that ain't that good. But you never know. I mean, you can touch one person the right way, and they'll be like dropping a rock in a quiet pond, and their ripples may touch 5,000 people, and they may touch 5,000 people. So, we've got to be less practical and more spiritual as far as the message reaching people and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'm not doing it for the numbers. It's fun. We get to talk and chat, once a week for a couple of hours, and I have a good time. And when we start getting, bored and stuff, we'll just stop doing it.
We'll stop doing it. I have no idea what we should talk about next week, but it will just become evident, and it might come to an end. We don't know. We'll see.
Nah, we're having too much fun.
All right.
If nothing else, I mean, we upload it, you send it to your friends, maybe 50 people, 75 people look at it. I send it to my friends, maybe 2 people. But it's okay. But anyway, we touch those people, and they're looking forward to it, and they want to hear it. And hell, if that's it, that's fine. That's fine with me. There's no reason to look for the big numbers when we've got solid friends like that.
That's beautiful. All right, brother, shall we bring it to a close?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, Barry.
All right, everybody. Cole, my friend in Byron Bay, Australia, and I am here in the Southwest. And once again, thanks for giving us a listen. And Cole, thank you for sharing your wisdom and insight to all our fellow listeners. All right, we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.